I like second episodes. You usually make it there when you have a basis of what's going on, and it piqued your interest to some point so that you continue. Now you're somewhat familiar, but still got the feeling of exploring something new. Okay, enough rambling. Welcome to Courtesy to the Commons, where it's me throwing together some stuff I found in a dumpster and then celebrate when it weirdly works. This is a common only and sealed only Yu-Gi-Oh challenge, where I explain something sometimes, because I'm Soichiro in real life.
Let me explain.
We work with $20 each time to manage to get to a somewhat capable deck. And that brings me to my first point. I wasn't really keeping track of the budget last time, just cause what I bought was $20 exactly. This time I only used half of it, because I wanna save something for potential boosters. So the math problem stays simple. The additions in this stage are still huge, so they take some time to get into. Might as well start saving right in the beginning then. That brings us to $10 budget for next time, and a new structure deck because we still need staples and some sort of strategy. I went with Rokketrevolt, because I actually took the time to think this through a bit better. Because we got something that works with our current deck, some staples again, and even some spice for the side deck. I really think this is gonna give us a big boost right there and now. And also link monsters. Quite a few at common rarity. Because I wanna have some way out when I do my misplays. Okay, crack it open, throw away the cardboard, keep the tinier cardboard, and again we take a peek at the shiny stuff. Yeah, screw that. Who needs Cerberus? Or a very dope fusion card? Or a silver rocket, or a rocket searcher? Or the trap card? Okay, that's quite a lot again. But we are common only, we don't use the shine. Way too blinding. Let's take a look at the newcomers. We get a huge rocket monster package, even considering only the commons. And I guess in this case, to include them all, you can call it the Darkness Dragon type monsters. And this brings us to our little introduction. Rockets like two things: Link and Destruction. To start off, let's take a look at Magna Rocket Dragon. When a Link monster's effect is activated, that targets this face-up card on the field. And you will see that line very often. What changes is the next part. You can destroy this card, then send one monster on the field to the grave. Neat, non-targeting, non-destruction removal. Then the second effect activates at the end phase, if this card on field was destroyed this turn, or sent to the graveyard by battle or card effect. At this point you'd probably start to think about a potential synergy with the already established Shadow monsters. But that would work way better with the Dark Fusion El Shadow Winder. One thing is right though, some strategies align here. Anyway, in this particular case you can special summon Ron directly from your deck. Wizards aside, yeah, I'm talking about rocket monsters. And it just needs to be a rocket with a different name. You can special summon it directly from the deck, which is really good. And it has this kind of chain reaction mechanic to it, but you need link monsters in order to set it up properly. So the second effect usually stays the same, and allows for some pretty metal combos. But the first one changes. Metal Rocket destroys everything in the column, Auto Rocket gets rid of spell and traps, Shell Rocket destroys one monster from the same column, and then all neighboring cards. Explode Rocket gives everyone 2000 damage, being a small self-destruct button. And NS Rocket disables a monster and its effect by injecting him with his forehead, and smiles while doing so. That's not the entire rocket package we have. Rocket Synchron helps getting back higher level monsters from the graveyard. And in an alternate timeline where we had a Synchro monster, he'd also be a neat tuner. Rocket Recharger is a weird one. He acts when a dark monster from the extra deck gets destroyed. You put him to the grave and summon a dark monster with a different name. Additionally, he can't be attacked while you control a dark extra deck monster, though the last effect is probably rarely important. That's quite a lot to take in. Not directly a rocket monster, but also in the package, is Gateway Dragon, who not only is special summonable when your opponent controls a link monster, but can also help once per turn to bring out a dark dragon from your hand. Neat. Then there is also Background Dragon, who's level 5, and if you control no cards, you can special summon him from the grave, with a level 4 or lower dragon monster from your hand. In theory, a neat recovery, but useless when either drawn or having anything on the field. Then there is Defrag Dragon. You can send one other monster from your hand to the grave. Since this is a cost, it doesn't activate our Shadow effects. I tested it. If this card is in the grave, you can banish 3 monsters with the same name to special summon him again. That's also a nice second effect, but we got one card 2 times and that's a spell, so not happening. We have Labradorite Dragon, a level 6 normal tuner with no attack, which seems a bit random at first, till you see why they put it here. More on that later though. We got 3 cards that work with dragon monsters. 2 specifically of them with level 7 or higher dragon monsters. But with 2 in total of those right now, I don't see us running them. Keeper of the Shrine is cool though. He specials himself from the hand or the grave when a dragon monster is destroyed by battle or card effect. Which I guess can happen with a bunch of dragon mines. And if the thing destroyed was a normal monster, you can add a dragon normal monster from the deck or grave to your hand. The origin of this card screams Blue Eyes, but also works with Labradorite Dragon. World Chalice Scar Dragon is also a hand trap that works when a linked monster is targeted. You can negate the effect and special summon a normal monster from a grave, to a zone a link monster points to. Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn, is similar to Felice, a part of the later Lightsworn lineup. He allows us to mill our deck during the main and end phase, and theoretically gets attack. You prefer the mill effect on command way more though. For the spell cards, we got the Rokket spells, who support the destruction, summoning them or even bringing them back from the graveyard. Script Draw lets you draw 2 cards and destroy a rocket on a quick play spell. That is kinda cool. I like their field spell. Besides the first effect being a potential 2-card special summoning from the hand, the second one lets you summon as much rockets from the grave as your opponent controls monsters. Now that's a potential recovery background dragon. Rapid Trigger is a generic fusion spell that destroys the materials and protects the fusion monster from extra deck cards, but it also limits its attack targets to only extra deck monsters. I enjoy it, but without the fusion monster, it's a little awkward to run. Just for the Shadow monsters, I wouldn't include it. But an extra deck card protected and a Yata list sounds like a thing not many people did though. Okay, more spells. Dragon Shrine is a foolish burial for dragons, and even potentially more if you send a normal dragon to the grave. The other 2 are strictly support for level 7 and 8 dragons again. Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords is a token generator costing face-up cards, so I don't know, I mean it's something. We get the second Twin Twister, the first poly, 2 Rokket trap cards, the first being a permanent trap that banishes Dark Link monsters from the grave for an attack boost, and the second one allowing you to return a rocket from the grave, but its effects are negated and it's banished when it leaves the field, which goes quite a bit against how rockets like to go. Red Reboot is here as a common, giving us an out to the last trap card that hates us, and Magic Cylinder is the old school middle finger. We are almost at the end with Mirror Force and Mirror Force Launcher. The first one is too famous to explain, and the second one is a permanent trap that allows you to discard 1 card and add 1 Mirror Force from your deck or graveyard to the hand. Your opponent can guess what you said after activating the effect. When the launcher is destroyed when it's set, you get it back, and 1 Mirror Force from your graveyard, deck or hand, which can even be activated this turn. I really enjoy the idea here, and at this point I will definitely try it out just for fun. Rounding off the main deck is Imperial Order, which not only says no to spell effects, but has all ticks set for a side deck card. You got a wall, you got a ruler, and it's a permanent trap. We arrive at the new extra deck cards, and this was actually the reason why I chose the structure deck. Knowing the rocket effects now, we want him to target a face-up monster on the field. Both Booster Dragon and Borrelot Dragon do that, one of them raising and one of them lowering the attack and defense by 500 of an open monster on the field. Also, this effect is a quick effect, and prevents your opponent from responding. Booster helps us with swarming upon defeating a monster. Borrelot helps us with swarming just by straight up grabbing your opponent's monster. Triple Burst negates monster spell and traps once per turn, but only during the damage step, which is specific, but it's something. and it deals piercing damage, and you can also tribute it to bring out a Link 2 or lower, as well as level 4 or lower dragon from your hand. Basically meaning you can theoretically abuse Booster Dragon's effect more than once per turn, if I'm not mistaken. So we got 3 options that make the loss of Cerberus and the gang not that devastating, but a little devastating. For the deck building, I took quite a lot of time, cause obviously with the dragons blowing everything up, they just burst in and take certain spots. Then I decided best right now is a breakup with most of the Ice Barrier monsters. I really enjoy Ice Barriers, and with the synchros and new support, you could have had a right off the bat powerful addition, but in this shape they work either in conjunction pretty bad or not at all. With them gone, a Nautilus was suddenly way less likely, so the fusion stuff had to go as well. I have a nice little plan with them though, so this gets context later down the line. Okay, let's take a look at what I could come up with this time. Shadows have clearly earned themselves their spot. They need no introduction. Furthermore, everything with the Rokket name in it just needs to be here. I wanna test everything out, even if the shell Rokket blows me up. Also Gateway and Defrag Dragon. Let's move on to our generic stuff. I thinned it out and added Raider and Keeper of Shrine here. And for the new spell I added Quick Launch, Script Draw, Boot Sector Launch and Boral Regenerator. Dragon Shrine is also a no-brainer, cause it means for this deck in particular we're playing 2 Foolish Burials. In terms of generic spell, we play Allure of Darkness, more alive than ever, so it's not so likely that I fall for it anymore. And then the actual Foolish Burial, along with Pot of Avarice. The traps are almost the same, but I removed Finish Chain and added 2 Mirror Forest cards, cause I say so. Don't go telling me battle traps are lame or you will be sent to the mirror dimension. For the extra deck we have everything we have, nothing too mind-blowing here. The side deck has also seen an upgrade, with actual strategy this time. More obviously we have Mind Drain, Imperial Order, Never Ending Nightmare, and I understand the title now because it's following me. And then there is Red Reboot, just cause I don't want it in the main deck, and as well as a pointer. I will probably never use a pointer though. Along with our good pal Finish Chain and the middle finger. I added both Twin Twisters here, added a checksum, dragon, and we come to the more odd picks. Felice is here because I like her. Well, that's not in my hand, but probably in my main deck at least. It mostly has to do with me testing out which situations I come across and how many times I actually send stuff to the graveyard. And if that actually ends up benefiting me, then I probably add her back. Because with Foolish Burials she's a free monster on the field and that's not to be understated. Next up is Medium of the Ice Barrier. She's a water monster with a special summon condition that doesn't need another Ice Barrier monster. She's also here because if I end up playing against a water deck, which I'm aware probably won't happen that often, but at least she's here and I can side her along with all my other fusion cards. Mostly because I wanna play a Super Poly with an opponent's cards and play a Nautilus. I'll just tell you afterwards how successful that was. What I excluded ended up being Pecoraro, because it doesn't benefit us as much as we might want to believe. And contrary to something like Electromagnetic Turtle, he needs damage in order to activate. But the turtle just activates and prevents that even from happening. Also excluded are all the cards that interact with level 7 or 8 dragon monsters. The reasons being we don't have that much. Also I decided against the normal monster combos. Even if I got stuff like Dragon Shrine, it's probably not worth it, and on top of that it rarely happens. I looked at all the past cards and thought of potential interactions. I wanna keep them in mind throughout the series. And there was stuff like Wear After, which is more usable now, but we still don't got that much level 1 monsters that are actually played in order for it to matter. So away we put the other stuff, taking it out next time, because constantly checking our options is how progress is made in my opinion. I'm satisfied with how it turned out, so let's see how it does in the field. I didn't want to exclude the games against random people, but on the other side I don't want them to leave all the time. So this time I asked one of my bots who helps us out with one of the matches. My buddy plays ABC Dragonbuster, Ochama and Armed Dragon, and that's quite the chess Princeton combo. I got a good hand in the beginning though and started with Script Draw and Quick Launch. and ended with Electromagnetic Turtle in the grave. Unfortunately though, he also got some very good cards in the starting hand and played Union Hanger, which allowed him to search out all of his stuff very easily, and ended with an IP Masquerina on the board, and probably a Link Summon on my turn. I didn't really have to wait too long for IP Masquerina to activate, because his plan was to kinda shut me down with Appaloosa. But with Lost Wind set, that was very fruitless. I ended up playing Borrelol Dragon and attacked directly. Not in a bad position here, he got to his final big boss monster. Here he is. ABC Dragonbuster. A monster that not only can quick effect banish anything on the field by a discard, you can also quick effect to tribute him and bring out the materials, so he can build himself up back again. That's quite a big target for us. Upon summoning the dragon though, I was allowed to set Lost Winds back again. And I did kind of a useless move with Sinister Shadow Games, bringing him into defense. And he did the smart thing here to split up again, because he can basically search out the parts anytime he wants to. And he got a lot of discard fodder by playing the Ochamas in his kind of package here, and didn't really brick. That was quite amazing. But he miscalculated the timing with Lost Winds, and that was my time to break through. I actually pulled off Rocket Dragon and was allowed to kind of shut down one of his monsters, but I did make a misplay also with ABC Dragonbuster by discarding something for no effect, because it was still negated by Lost Winds. Anyway, I top-decked Gateway Dragon and then just ran over everything he had at the moment, and he didn't really draw anything good at all at the last second. He then set something in defense, and I went into Booster Dragon, then boosted my Gateway Dragon, and then finished him off with Booster Dragon. My starting hand in the second match was also quite good, and any hand that kind of included Quick Start in a Rokket deck is something that you kind of want to have, and I pulled off the Dragon Shrine and Keeper Shrine combo, and that was kind of neat. I really liked the interaction here, and he couldn't quite follow up to the previous game, and only played like one part and equipped it with Union Hanger, and I was allowed to go into Borrelol Dragon. Then I made contact with BLS and his effect protections the parts provide for each other, so that was a misplay right there. Now, two very interesting things happened. Keeper of Shrine kept coming back because he played the Dragon Monster and went into the big armed dragon, and that was kind of exciting to see. And the big armed dragon gets attack power based on the numbers of things he had. After playing Appaloosa, he then accidentally tributed her for a Union Driver because he just clicked way too fast, as he would later tell me, and that's very frustrating. But he was able to recover nonetheless. And the second thing we both learned in this match is that you can just equip ABC Dragonbuster with all of your equip cards, because it doesn't really provide that much additional benefits besides of like me needing to shoot more spell and traps, which I tried. And because once he attacked, and that was his plan all along, to get rid of my Borrelol Dragon, every equip card would completely shoot itself. And I mean, he was in a good enough position to just, okay, say, let's put them all to the graveyard. I mean, they searched something out anyway, and I think I couldn't really follow up with something. Did draw into Electromagnetic Turtle, but he banished it, so nothing to really gain here at this point. You can watch me now getting silently obliterated. Match 3, and I spare you the details because my opponent now had complete control over his deck, and he brought out Cyber Dragon Infinity and the new Armed Dragon, and my Dark Armed Dragon basically had nothing to say at this point. And I'm really thankful though that the first matches were some good like playgrounds for me to test out the Rockets, and thanks for playing with me, buddy. My second match was against a very cool fossil deck, and I really like the playstyle of this one. It's just like really beatdown heavy, and I didn't know that at the time, and I was thinking like, okay, is this stun rock or what should I do? And I played Gateway Dragon and then one of my rockets, and the ultimate plan here at first was to go into a Link monster, and I didn't really kind of consider that Booster Dragon needs 2 rocket monsters, and I think it wouldn't have mattered anyway. You see this very aggressive kind of rock throwing at me, and it made it very clear that the first turn was just testing out what I could come up with, and then just running over me. He had this big like 3,500 dinosaur monster, which just made devastating amounts of damage. The second match makes for a much more interesting story, as he would just go into his Magnet Warrior and then instantly into the fusion. And it makes it very clear that he just basically thought of me as not a threat anymore. And I could pull off an amazing start with Quick Launch and a Lure of Darkness. And then I was even able to play BLS very quickly, and I ran over his first fusion, and he gets the material back, or I guess he gets the fusion card back with Fossil Fusion. Triple Burst helped me out though. He was able to negate the effect of his Magnet Warrior in the graveyard, because it was during the damage step. And he played another fusion card and then attacked over Triple Burst. And the next thing was very interesting as well, because in the battle phase I decided his graveyard summoning to attack Triple Burst again, because again I knew he could negate during the damage step. And yeah, but he had this kind of circulation set up with his Magnet Warriors, so I couldn't really break through any kind of board here, but at least I can make some damage, and I could get rid of anything that doesn't manage to get over BLS. And would I have paid attention here, I would have seen the one card who can double its attack when attacking against or playing against a monster, because once I draw into Crackdown, my plan here was to steal his highest attack monster, and that's what I was able to do here. But I should have picked the one where you just can't attack because it gets double attack. That was a misplay. I don't think it would have mattered in the end, but that was basically it for the fossils. Very interesting deck though. For the next match I got a little question for you. Wanna see me get beat up by cakes? Wanna see me get beat up by cakes again? Yeah, I played Medolches and it was a massacre, and I couldn't really do anything about it because once Tiaramisu hit the field it was basically over. That's 3 matches, and I give you a little bonus because I played one match where I didn't include every deck change, and so I didn't count this one, but it was against the Grand Macho deck, and I just basically won by having Electromagnetic Turtle in my graveyard. He then finished me off in the next 2 games, so the universe is balanced again. Looking at the total of the matches, we have just losses, but one dual one in there, so I'm just gonna focus on that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to dwell on it for too long because it's very early in the challenge and I play common only, so I don't think that's too surprising at this point. Now on to the lessons learned. First is that I really enjoy rockets, which I wouldn't have thought in the beginning. I thought they would swarm way too easily, and I kinda enjoy more challenge in my archetypes. Which is probably a weird thing to say, I know, but they're not really broken though, because you need to blow them up with a Link monster effect, and that doesn't happen that frequently. And additionally you get the summon only in the end phase, so there is no immediate benefit here, even if the place to summon is really awesome with the deck. We could get to some boards and even to Borrowload, which is amazing to see in action, so overall I guess rockets are a big plus for me. Second one is that we didn't really play against the stuff that we could pull off Mirror Force Launcher or any water decks to kind of include the fusion cards again. So all in all, the weird side strategies I included were not really applicable today. And if I want, then maybe I give Mirror Force Launcher a second chance, but we'll see once the next edition is made. Third is that I didn't really need to include all the rockets in order for them to work, so there is some space to experiment with. And the last thing is also something positive as well. Lost Winds really seems like a solid thing to include here, if we don't have any other form of effect negation. And yeah, some sort of base is set now. I enjoy the challenge a lot, and we have almost reached the point where we get the feeling of which direction to ultimately go with this one. I had a blast, hope you got something out of it too, and we'll see each other in the next one. Bye.